In this video, I'm going to show a summary of the Advanced Railcar Optimizer tool, ARO. ARO is a software referred to as a switching tool. It enables rail crews to schedule rail movements within a refinery or a storage area in order to create the so-called switch list and give the switch list to the engine so the engine can essentially move the rail cars to the required destination. I'm gonna basically start by invoking the SAP transaction for that. This is the SAP, this is the initial screen of the software tool. You can see a number of buttons and a number of grids. Don't worry about that. I'll explain most of them as we move along. The first central piece of information or central piece of configuration or hierarchy is the so-called planning system. The planning system essentially resembles a group of planners sitting somewhere in an office and planning railcar movements for a certain geographic area, refinery, storage yard, whatever the case might be. So I'm going to pick a planning system here. Let me see what I have set up. I have a Dallas planning system and I have a Houston planning system. Okay, this is just it's just an example. It doesn't mean anything. So I'm going to pick the Houston planning system. Okay, and notice what's going to happen. What's going to happen on the right-hand side of this grid here, where it says rail planning system. Houston. I'm going to pick Houston. Okay. And you can see a number of things happened here. This grid is filled in and this lower grid is filled in. This grid basically kind of breaks down the planning system for us. The planning system consists of more than one area or more than one storage yard, if we can call them that way. This particular one, Houston, is made up of a main or primary area. It's called the ABS refinery. It has a serving area. It's in the River Oaks. It's called the River Oaks yard. It has an outside area, which is basically anything outside of our system. It's called outside. And this is just one way of modeling this movement. It doesn't have to be this way. Then we have a number of storage areas. I think we have set up two here. We have the Midtown storage area and we have the Greenway Plaza storage area. And this summary here shows you the number of rail cars per area. Total, the empty ones and the loaded ones. So this is just a quick summary of the rail cars and their position, and this is what makes up our planning system. In our case, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 areas all put together that make up a planning system. And this is just one way of modeling a planning system. It doesn't have to be this way. The lower part of the screen again just shows us a quick summary of the number of the rail cars in this planning system, sorted by vehicle home base. Okay, and again it shows us the total vehicles, the empty ones, full vehicles, and so on. These reports can be varied per user needs. Now, this screen has about 8 buttons here. I'm going to try and explain all of them in detail. Some maybe not so much detail, but as much as I can. Let's start with the main button, which is Manage Railcars. Okay, this button essentially manages the master data of the railcar. Let's click on that and let's see what we have. Okay, this is essentially a list of all of our railcars. We have 2,928 railcars set up. On the top here, we can create a railcar, we can copy a railcar, we can display a railcar. We can copy a railcar, we can search, and we can do mass changes for the railcar. Let me show you an example of the mass changes. I'm going to click on this icon here. So you can mass change all these attributes for a selected subset of railcars. Okay, I'm going to just exit now. I'm going to look for a particular rail car and I'm going to examine it in more detail so you can see what type of data is included in the rail car. So I'm going to set this filter here. I'm sorry, no, let me just go to filter, set filter, rail car, filter values. Sorry. Set filter. Okay. Okay, this is the rail car I'm gonna look at, UTLX 665969. I'm gonna select the rail car and I'm gonna hit the button change rail car. Let's see what things are part of this rail car master data. Obviously, there are the basic stuff, the vehicle home base, the vehicle fleet. This is an asphalt fleet rail car. You can have as many fleets as you want, asphalt, diesel, gasoline, whatever. You have the rail car initial, rail car number. You have the rail car tierway, number of compartments. You have the capacity of the rail car, the status of the rail car, loading status, vehicle status. This one is empty. You have this key. It says this car has been inside the area, meaning has been inside of our main area for 2,077 days. Obviously, if this is a car that we are accruing demurrage on, we are going to have a huge demurrage bill. But this just shows you some basic statistics. Let's just look at some of the other tabs here. The first tab is the location tab. So this is the basic data tab. We'll finish with that. I'm going to go to the location tab. The location tab. Each car is identified in the system as far as the location by three things: the area, the spot, and the track. That completely defines where the rail car is. Sometimes there's a station, but not always. So this particular rail car, currently it's sitting outside at this track at spot 0. And okay, so it's sitting at this, give me just 1 minute. It's sitting at the track 9000 spot 0, okay? And its next location is going to be, it's going to move to the Dallas refinery, and it's going to move to track 800 and spot 998. 800 is probably the inbound track, and 998 is probably some unknown spot. It's flagged as 998. Let's just do a drop down here on the spots. Okay, nothing's found. Okay, doesn't matter. This shows you the last confirmed trip. So essentially, most likely this trip 63452 put this car at this spot and at this area. Okay. Gauge info. This is basically the strapping tables for the rail car. You can see all the strapping tables. You can upload them, and there's a simple, well, actually it's a full calculator that calculates the volume of the rail car based on the image or the outage. Let's look at the fourth tab, the load data. This just shows you the load per compartment of that rail car. So in the first compartment, we have this onboard material, volume, quantity, so on and so forth. CLM data. This is basically the car location messages. If there's any car location messages, it will be shown here. I'll come back to this later. The ARO comes with hardware or gate readers that can be installed at your refinery in order to scan the RFID tag of the rail car coming in and going out. Demurrage data. This helps us in order to calculate demurrage for a rail car. So basically, I've just reviewed with you the basic rail car master data info. We have basic data, location, gauge or strapping table, loading data, car location messages, and demurrage info. Okay. So this is the basic rail car data. I'm going to go back to the summary screen now. Okay, now I'm going to show you the other part of the system where we basically can schedule the movements of rail cars. Once we pick the planning system, by the way, this is the summary, and I'm skipping many details that are needed, but just a summary overview. So I picked this Houston planning system, and I'm going to click on the button Manage Planning System. I click onto that. And I can see now a number of, basically it's a workbench in order to plan railcar movements. I can from here create a railcar, okay? But more importantly, I can create a trip. I can create a trip, single trip, or trip and mass. I can view track, and I can do mass changes. So this tabs, basically, this workbench divides the railcar in that system into railcars inbound, railcars outbound. Let me see if it's anything here. Okay, outbound we have 26, inbound we have none. Okay, okay, I'm sorry. Inbound we have 12, outbound we have 26, and inbound, outbound. That's all configuration based on how you define your inbound and outbound. Typically, a track or a group of tracks are picked as the inbound versus outbound tracks. Cars inside of the refinery, because in our case the primary area is a refinery, we have 204 cars inside of this refinery. Okay, we have scheduled trips, and this is where we begin to schedule. The trips essentially is a planned movement of a rail car from a spot track to another track and spot. Let's just look at one movement. I'm going to pick this rail car random. I'm going to say change trip. This is the basic screen to create a movement. It has a lot of details, but I'm going to just focus on the main ones. So this is the trip number. This is the rail car that we're going to move. This is the move date and move time. This is the origin info of the car. Okay, right now it's sitting at 933, spot 6, and it's meant to move to 933 spot 7 in the same refinery. We can start trip, confirm trip, delete trip, but basically this is the trip. Essentially, it's a date, time, rail car, origin, destination. The origin is typically determined automatically by the software. Let's go back. So now we have a group of trips. Those trips basically are the scheduled movements. Those trips would be the basis to create the paper switch list or electronic that the rail crews can use to basically move their rail car. I'm going to show you what a switch list might look like. I'm going to click on this button called print switch list, and there's several formats. I'm going to just keep it on the same one. I'm going to just say show me. I'm going to unclick this one. I'm going to just say create a switch list from all the trips that are out there. I'm going to click. Oh, there's nothing. Let me go back. The switch list looks something like this, although this is missing some information. It didn't pick up any trips for some reason, but this is what the switch list looks like. It's going to say this is the rail car, this is the current spot, move it here, move it into this spot and this location. This is the shift, fleet, and notes. Okay, so this is basically the switch list. Let me try the other format. So this is the other format, a switch list. It's going to show you the rail car loading. I'm sorry, this is the loading status, the vehicle status. This is the origin, and this is the destination, and this is the date of the movement. Let me see. Okay, it has not picked up any trips, but that's okay. But it shows you the idea of the switch list. This is all the confirmed trips in the past. There's nothing here. Again, we continue the classification. This is the rail cars outside the refinery. All these tabs are basically configurable. There's a button here called View Track. Let's see what this one does. This basically probably shows you the rail car on each track. Let me do the outbound track. Nothing. Nothing. Let's do the storage. Okay. In any case, this allows you to view all the rail cars on a particular track and the spot number. You can basically resequence the rail cars at this point in time in this screen. Manage track. Let me see here. Okay, this track has 2 rail cars. This is a different view, essentially. It shows you the track, the spots, and the rail car. There's too much detail here. I'm not going to spend any time on it, but the idea is there are tools for you to manage the track in terms of spots and location and sorting of the rail cars on the track, okay? So this is essentially the main planning tool. I'm going to exit out of this one here. And I'm going to go back. I'm going to spend a few minutes just talking about some other stuff. This yard check upload, it basically enables us to upload the entire content of a rail yard from an Excel upload, okay? Click on that and you can upload the entire yard content and attach each rail car to a certain spot if you want to, or track. This one is the manage CLM messages. If I click here, do execute, this is all the messages. As I said, this software comes with hardware that enables us to read the RFID rail cars, the RFID tags of each rail car. And each time a car moves past an RFID reader, a message is sent to the software. The message will have a number and a read date and a read time and the car ID. And that can be used in various ways in the system. For example, to confirm the movement of inbound cars. Okay? I'm gonna go to that. Let's look at this vehicle inventory report. This just shows you all the rail cars. It's a simple report. All the rail cars in the system, fleet, capacity, and so on. Vehicle location, let's look at that. This just shows you the location of each rail car, the current location. Okay, this rail car, it's at this area, track, spot. Okay, upload gauge info. You can upload the strapping tables of the rail car. I'm not going to go into that, but you've seen the strapping tables and you can upload them. These 2 areas here are just for quick system queries. And this finishes really the quick intro into the ARO Railcar management system. I'm going to just show you one thing here, one quick thing. Okay, there's no need. Thank you.